Then he met Lucia, fell in love with her and married her. Both of them had similar aspirations in life, as she was also searching for the truth. They were guided by Rene Guénon to another guru who gave them a very rigorous sadhana of chanting incantations which they followed meticulously. During that time, being a keen intellectual, in addition to being a seeker, Osborne studied and even practiced simultaneously the tenets of Sufism, Buddhism, Christianity, and Vedanta, gaining mystical erudition in all of them. And look at the beauty. All this prepared him for the finale. He then got a job in the University of Bangkok in Thailand and took his wife and 3 children there. Wherever he went, he was always in contact with members of Rene Guénon's group. One of the members, David McIver, sent them a photograph of Ramana Maharshi and 2 of Bhagavan's books. He also cautioned them that Ramana Maharshi was not a guru, as he did not give initiations or accept anyone as a disciple. But Arthur and Lucia Osborne were captivated by the picture of Bhagavan and desired to go to India and meet Ramana Maharshi. Being a very hot summer, they went to Kashmir, where they were met by David McIver, who also owned a cottage opposite to Ramanasramam. After spending a few weeks, Osborne had to go back to Bangkok. Fortunately, David invited Mrs. Osborne and the 3 children and took them to Tiruvannamalai. When Osborne went to Bangkok, the Second World War broke out, and the Japanese arrested him and put him in jail. For 3.5 years he was in jail. Arthur Osborne's only solace was Bhagavan's picture and the 2 books. When the Japanese came to arrest him from the university campus, some urge prompted him to take these 3 things. While in the prison camp, he created and tended to a very nice garden. His personality and his talks there drew many people to him. One among them was Louis Hirst, who came to Bhagavan after the Second World War. Far away in Tiruvannamalai, Mrs. Osborne had by then already got Bhagavan's darshan. The moment she saw Bhagavan's eyes, Bhagavan gave her a pointed look. She felt absolutely transformed. Bhagavan took special care of Mrs. Osborne and the children. To her husband in prison, Mrs. Osborne wrote about how Bhagavan's eyes had the innocence of a small child, together with the unfathomable wisdom and immense love of a sage. Meanwhile, the children prayed to Bhagavan, "Bhagavan, we are writing letters to our father, but we do not know whether he is alive or not. Please keep him alive and bring him back soon." Osborne told me that when he was in prison, prominent British prisoners were sometimes taken away and executed. When the special force came to take Osborne, everyone was sure that he was going to be shot. Osborne told me, "The last thing I looked at was Bhagavan's picture and the 2 books. When I was taken in front of the firing squad, I closed my eyes. I did not pray to Bhagavan, but Bhagavan's picture came to my mind, and for some unknown reason, they released me and put me in a concentration camp." While he was suffering, his children back in Tiruvannamalai went on praying to Bhagavan for their father's safe return. Bhagavan never gave an answer until the war ended. The day when Osborne was released, along with the first batch of 40 prisoners, his son Adam's prayer was answered by Bhagavan, who said, "Yes, Adam's father is coming back." And when Arthur came to Arunachala, Osborne was in a debilitated mental state because of the torture in the concentration camp. Intellectuals were tortured to brainwash them. When Bhagavan was told about Osborne's imminent return by train, his attendant, T.P. Ramachandra Iyer, on seeing Bhagavan's concern, asked, "May I also go?" And Bhagavan replied, "Yes, you also go." So Bhagavan's representative was also there when Osborne was brought back. The only person he could recognize in his poor mental condition was his wife. She came crying to Bhagavan, and Bhagavan told her, "Please bring Osborne here morning and evening, and make him sit where I can see him." This happened till he became completely all right and continued even afterwards. Osborne later told me, "Bhagavan saw to it that I sat where he could see me. One day when 2 or 3 people came and sat between me and Bhagavan, he even asked those people to sit elsewhere so that he could see me, which was very, very unusual for him." However, Bhagavan did not reveal himself to Osborne on the very first day. Some days later, on a festive occasion, Bhagavan concentrated his attention on Osborne, and the change came with all its immensity. After this, Osborne began to understand what the grace and blessings of a guru could be. It was this initiation by look that vitalized him and made him follow Sri Bhagavan's teaching of self-inquiry, a quest for which his intellectual bent of mind was perfectly suited. Bhagavan poured his love and attention continuously on Arthur, and Osborne was very meticulous and regular, coming every morning and evening as he went deeper and deeper within. He fully understood what Bhagavan meant by saying that the only purpose of the outer guru was to invoke the inner guru. When he came to Bhagavan, he was again told by MacIver that Bhagavan was not a guru, and he never gave initiation or accepted disciples. Osborne, however, now felt that if Bhagavan was not a guru, then the word guru had no meaning. Bhagavan had given him initiation by look, which transformed him and made him a true disciple. So there was no question about Bhagavan not having disciples. The constant practice of self-inquiry began to awaken an awareness of the self as Bhagavan guided outwardly and also as the self within. Osborne understood and said that the specious theory that Bhagavan was not a guru simply evaporated in the full radiance of his grace. This initiation and its consequences changed the course of his spiritual life. He could no longer practice his earlier methods of sadhana. He was a little disturbed about this and sought Bhagavan's permission to drop them. Bhagavan gave it immediately, saying, "Yes, all other methods only lead to self-inquiry." The moment for the final decision came. He was staying with Bhagavan when the British government announced that all the released British prisoners of war in India would be accommodated in Britain with all comforts. The British High Commission sent letter after letter to the Osbornes about this. They did not even show these letters to Bhagavan to ask his opinion. They were certain that they did not want to leave Bhagavan and go anywhere else. When the last ship was to leave India for Britain, the British High Commissioner sent a telegram alert to them. Mrs. Osborne told me that she did not even feel like taking this telegram to Bhagavan because it was already confirmed for them that Bhagavan was their sole refuge and that there was no other worldly life than staying with Bhagavan. But Osborne was a family man and had to earn a little money. So he got a job in Chennai as an editor in a reputed daily newspaper. Though he did not want to go, he had to. But before he left for Chennai, one of his friends gave him an oil portrait of Bhagavan. He took it to Bhagavan, who, holding it in his hand, said, "Osborne is taking Swami with him." That portrait, Osborne told me, looked at him with the love and compassion of a guru and spoke more profoundly than all the other pictures of Bhagavan. This adorned his room, and whenever he wanted to make any decision, he would first look at that portrait and only then decide.